Hi, in this investigation that is part of philosophy class, we are going to talk about our topic that is 9/11 under conspiracy theories, also in relation with citizenship.
We're gonna mention different philosophers and what are their thoughts about 9/11 events. Also, we're gonna question credibility government gives to the original information in which all US or the most US citizens don't believe at all.
By the end of the video, we're going to give our thesis and a comparison between the two philosophers, and we're going to establish that if we keep our position or not. As citizens, when events so tragic like this happen and the official reports don't match some evidence or feel some hope, it's our duty to investigate more about the topic and to search for the truth. Compiling more data, it gets us closer to the truth. Citizenship is a status of being a citizen and the quality of an individual response to membership in a community.
The social responsibility in search of real news and don't let US government or the government manipulate them by fake news. Have a critical thinking and always search for the truth. The beginnings of these conspiracy theories against 9/11 attacks took just days after the September 11 of 2001. Terrorist attacks on New York and Washington DC over the decades since several technically elaborate claims have been refined by the 9/11 attacks. We're gonna talk about some philosophers' perspectives.
Well, Noam Chomsky is a very recognized philosopher that many occasions have talked about 9/11. Even his arguments were very criticized because of the lack of evidence and only based by his reputation. He established that he doesn't believe that the US government realized the attacks and that it was Al Qaeda's fault. So he's a believer of that the media and the US government have been telling us the truth to the people all around the world.
Another philosopher is Howard Zinn, that was an historian who died in 2010. He was well known for his opinion about civil rights and he is against the use of weapons. He gave an interview in Montreal talking about 9/11 where he said that he didn't believe any of the official reports that US government gave. And he thinks that there is enough evidence to prove that it was an inside job. Also believe that the administration of President Bush made a lot of crimes and believe it's not necessary to investigate more of this topic and we need to focus in more important issues.
We look for two different perspectives. Our thoughts are with Howard Zinn that the idea that the 9/11 was an inside job. We also think that the US government is hiding a lot of things, and it seems to be this event is what they wanted to happen, because could they start a war against Iraq and Afghanistan and take off position of the country by military forces.
Chomsky thinks that it wasn't an inside job. He thinks that the original information is true and that Al Qaeda made the attack. So we're not agree with this information, with his opinion, because of the lack of information and also that only backing him up by his reputation. The 9/11 attack was previously prepared by US government to get benefits from the destruction of Twin Towers. US government is not giving all complete information, that's why it exists a theory that it was an inside job. According to 2016 study from Chapman University in California, half of US citizens believe that the government is hiding information from the 9/11 attack. Also, there is still missing information from the official report given by US government. In the book, The New Pearl Harbor by philosopher David Ray Griffin, published in 2004, it states that Flight 93 could have been stopped in time following the standard protocol of combat aircraft. He thinks that the collapse of the towers was probably caused by explosives previously placed along the towers.
Now that we have looked to both perspectives, we start thinking without our position that the United States do it and it was an inside job. 9/11 was an event that shocked the world, and it's an excellent example of what we choose to believe as a person. The reality is relative and it depends on your perspective. So you can just be sure you are right with your own point of view, and as we do in this tech, we need to look to more perspectives so we can see things more clearly and get to the enlightenment so we can make the shadows disappear.
Taking the example of the allegory of the cave by Plato's, US government is trying to control citizens by giving information and hiding information to the citizens. Citizens are like prisoners. They only see shadows because it's what the US government wants to. Our responsibility as citizens is to seek for real information and look for the reality of the events. We need to get out of the cave and look for the reality that US government and the other governments or organizations are hiding.
Thank you for your attention.